So the NFL Draft 2025 is just a few hours away, and we are going to witness one of the most interesting drafts in the history of the Chargers. Previously, the LA Chargers have had some big hits in the NFL Draft, but the team has had way more misses. Most of that was due to former general manager Tom Telesco, who now finds himself out of the league after a one-year tenure with the Las Vegas Raiders that was unsuccessful too. Regardless of how good a GM is, though, it is impossible to have a 100% hit rate in the NFL draft. Even the best front offices in the league have misses. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor after all. Some of the Chargers' first-round picks were totally correct in the moment. Others were picked apart by the fan base when they happened. Some of those dissected picks end up working out while others have failed to live up to expectations. With the benefit of hindsight, let's dive into the history books and see what the Chargers could have done. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. Starting with the 2024 fifth overall pick, when the Chargers selected Joe Alt. It was a controversial pick at the time. However, after 1 year of a sample size, it is safe to say the Chargers made a smart move by taking one of the most polished tackles in recent draft history in Joe Alt. Alt had an exceptional rookie season and is going to be a fundamental pillar of the organization for years to come. Wide receiver Malik Neighbors would have been a fun selection and wouldn't have been a bad pick in the slightest, but it is clear the Chargers had their eyes on Ladd McConkey in the second round. In 2023, the Chargers selected wide receiver Quentin Johnston as the 21st overall pick. This was a frustrating draft for the Chargers as the team went against the grain and bought high on the potential upside of Johnston. Johnston was the most boom-or-bust wide receiver prospect in the first round, and so far he has busted for the Chargers. Most of the fan base wanted the team to take Zay Flowers, and even if it wasn't him, Jordan Addison had ties to the Chargers coaching staff at the time. Either Flowers or Addison would have been a better selection than Johnston, who turned a corner in 2024 but still cannot be fully trusted. This is a perfect example of a pick that was dissected at the time where the fans were completely correct. Yes, sometimes social media GMs are right. In 2022, the Chargers selected O.L. Zion Johnson in the first round as the 17th overall pick. Compared to Tyler Smith, who was taken by the Dallas Cowboys with the 24th overall pick, Zion Johnson has not been that effective for the Chargers. Johnson hasn't been fundamentally awful, but if a team is going to use a first-round pick on a guard, that guard has to be special. Unfortunately, Johnson has been underwhelming. To be fair to the Chargers, taking Tyler Smith as the 17th pick would have been viewed as a swing. However, in the time since then, Smith's switch from tackle to guard has made him one of the most productive young offensive linemen in the sport. Center Tyler Linderbaum is a better player than both Johnson and Smith, but redrafting him to the Chargers would be disingenuous. The team still had Corey Linsley at the time, and Linderbaum was a center-only prospect. In 2021, Chargers picked O.T. Rashawn Slater as 13th overall. Rashawn Slater was considered a dream prospect in 2021, with no real chance of falling to the Chargers with the 13th pick. Slater somehow fell to the Bolts and has lived up to expectations as one of the best tackles in the sport. The only thing that has been able to somewhat hold Slater back in his young career are injuries. But even then, long-term health issues are not a concern for Slater. The Chargers should sign him to a hefty extension soon and make him the team's franchise left tackle for a decade plus. In 2020, New England traded their first-round selection, 23rd, to Los Angeles in exchange for second and third round selections, 37th and 71st. So, the Chargers had two first-round picks, 6th and 23rd overall. On the 23rd, the Chargers selected Oklahoma linebacker Kenneth Murray. In reality, the Chargers should have just stayed put in the 2020 NFL Draft and not traded up for Murray. The Chargers could have stayed put and drafted Jonathan Taylor in the second and Zach Bond in the third. That would have been far better than Murray and Joshua Kelly, but the team did trade up. Brandon Ayuk and T. Higgins are two solid receivers who were taken after the 23rd pick, but wide receiver didn't make much sense with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Instead, the Chargers probably would have taken another linebacker, and Patrick Queen is the most logical choice. Queen has had an up-and-down pro career, but he has been better than Murray. Many Chargers fans assumed it was Queen who the team was trading up for back in 2020. That's who it should have been, although staying put would have ultimately been better. On 6th overall, the Chargers selected quarterback Justin Herbert. Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the sport. Chargers fans are thankful the Miami Dolphins took Tua Tagovailoa over Herbert. So, if you analyze last 5 years' selection, only 2 selections emerged as a real contender. But this draft is different. Jim Harbaugh and Joe Hortiz are ready to take full advantage of this draft. So, what do you think? Who should be the first overall pick for the Chargers in this draft? Share your thoughts in the comment section.